School at Indiana University. A little bit about Joe is it took him a little bit, and he persevered. He went back for his degree. 14 years later, he was able to do it for a Bachelor of Arts degree from Indiana University. He never gave up on his dream. And a little bit more about Joe is that he was a national speaker for Realtor.com, and he is the author of the book, The Foreclosure Revolution. We are pleased to have Joe as a member of our team, and I'd like to introduce him as our guest speaker this evening, Mr. Joe Sesso.
How's everybody doing? Great, excellent. Well, on behalf of everyone at Everest College, we want to thank you for being with us tonight as we are seeing this class graduate and move on to exciting new careers. The education and training that they have received over the past several months has prepared them to accomplish big things in their lives. Graduates, there's a lot of work ahead of you, and it will take determination and perseverance to land your dream job. So tomorrow, the work begins. But tonight is time to sit back, celebrate, and enjoy your success as graduates. Now, this is a night you're never going to forget. Remember that. All the hard work, all the perseverance, juggling families, jobs, school, late night study sessions, all of that into one. It all culminates tonight. This is your big graduation night. So take pictures, enjoy time with your families tonight. This is a celebration. Because tomorrow, the work will begin. And it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. The only thing I can tell you is 3 words. Never give up. Never give up. Now, my college career wasn't as conventional as most people's. It only took me 14 years to graduate. But I did. When I graduated Schaumburg High School, I had one dream in mind, and that dream was to graduate from Indiana University. So my freshman year, thank you. So go Hoosiers. All right, so the thing is that I graduated Schaumburg High School. I went to Indiana University my freshman year. There's only one problem. I was an out-of-state resident. I was an out-of-state resident going to Indiana, living in Illinois. I was paying twice the tuition. After my freshman year, I ran out of money. I had to come home. Now I was depressed. I was down and out. And there were times where I thought I would never finish. So I made a promise to myself, to my family, to my grandfather. I said, I'm going to graduate from Indiana. I'm going to get back there. But it wasn't easy. So what I did was, I realized I had to save up money to do it. I had to get a full-time job. While I was doing that, I went to school part-time at Harvard Junior College. And when I was doing that, I realized that I was going to work 8 to 10 hours a day, going right from work to night school, coming home and studying, and doing it over and over again, day after day, year after year. Finally, after 4 years, I graduated junior college. It was the best day of my life, and it's the most important graduation ceremony I've ever attended. Between my high school, my junior college, and my bachelor's degree, that was the most important one because I didn't think I was going to make it at some point. But I never gave up. And that graduation ceremony meant so much to me and my family because of all the hard work we put in to get there. My grandfather never missed anything that his grandchildren did. He wanted to be there for everything. And he was getting up there in age. We didn't know how many more graduation ceremonies he'd be able to attend, so it was really important for him to be there. And another thing, we had a family tradition that every time one of us kids graduated, my parents took us out to a really nice dinner. We didn't get out too much as kids, so we really milked every graduation we possibly could. So, everything we could do, we did. And that was fun. And one of my favorite pictures that was ever taken of my family was when I graduated Harvard. We sat on the bench right outside the campus. My dad took the picture. It was my mom, my brother, myself, my grandfather. I wish my dad could be in the picture, but it's kind of cold out. Everybody already left, so we were only 5 people left on campus at the time. So my dad took the picture, and that picture sits on my mantle to this day. And the thing that makes it even more special is that was my grandfather's last graduation. He died shortly thereafter. But every time I look at that picture, I remember how great a time that night was. And how much hard work it took to get to that point. So I never gave up after Harvard College. I worked a few more years, and I went back to Indiana, and I graduated. I did it. Thank you. Thank you. favorite stories about never giving up comes from a fellow Indiana alumnus. He graduated a few years before I did from the school. But his name is Lawrence. I want to tell you his last name in a little while here, but I wanted to show you how much it took for him to make it. Lawrence, as a kid, he loved basketball. And all he wanted to do was become a basketball player. He went to all the basketball camps, watched every basketball game he possibly could on television. He wanted to learn everything there was about being a player. When he got to high school, there was one problem with him. He didn't have the physical attributes to play the game. He couldn't jump too high. He was only 5'8". He was too slow, and he had no coordination. Besides that, he was a great player. So he tried out for the team. He got cut his freshman year. Tried out sophomore year. He got cut again. Junior year, he tried out. He got cut again. He even got cut his senior year of high school. Every year he was cut. But he loved basketball so much that he would go up to the coach after he was cut. He would ask the coach, "Is it okay, coach, if I could be the team manager? Because I want to learn more about the game." The coach said, "Sure, Lawrence, no problem." And Lawrence used those 4 years to absorb things. Watch what the players were doing on the court. Observe how the coaches were coaching. He picked the coach's brains every chance he could get to find out more about the game. So by the time Lawrence was a senior, he knew more about basketball than the players did. And he was one of the top managers that had ever walked through those school doors. He could have basically gone anywhere to be a basketball manager, but for Lawrence, there was only one school that mattered to him, Indiana University. And the opportunity to be the team manager for the legendary Coach Bob Knight, the winningest coach in the history of college basketball. Now, Lawrence was told, even though he was a great manager, he was told in the summertime, coming into his pre-interview, that there were no guarantees, no matter how good of a manager he was in high school. There was no guarantee that he was going to be a manager on Indiana's team, because it was one of the most coveted positions in all of Indiana, to be a manager for Coach Bob Knight. The references you could get out of there were enormous. So when he sat down for his interview, he was told that. And they said, if you want the sure thing, go to another school and take that job. But if you want to take a chance on changing your life, come here. And he did. And guess what? He became a manager of the team. And by the time he was a senior, he was the top manager on the team and was one of the best that ever walked through those doors. Lawrence never gave up on his dream. He made it. But it doesn't end there. Because at his exit interview with Coach Knight asked him, "Lawrence, you've been a great manager. What do you want to do now that you're about to graduate school?" And Lawrence said to him, "I want to be a basketball coach in college and the pros." Now understand this, Lawrence had a lot of obstacles to overcome. He was 5'8", he never played college basketball, he never even played high school basketball. The chances of him making it, because think about it, general managers, athletic directors, they wouldn't take him seriously. But he was determined to do it. He would not give up. The day after graduation, he sent out letters, resumes. He made phone calls to colleges. Months later, he didn't get a single call. Now, nobody would have faulted him if he would have quit right there and just said, "You know what, I got a degree, I can work anywhere, I'm going to get a job." But he was determined to become a coach. He would not give up. He would not give up. About a year later, after persistence and tenaciousness, he got a call from Marquette University's coach, Kevin O'Neill. They needed an assistant coach. Lawrence took the job. Lawrence made the most out of his stay at Marquette, got a master's degree, and soon became the #1 assistant coach on the staff. When Coach O'Neill took the top job at the University of because guess what? Lawrence wanted to coach in the pros. So he sent out more letters, more resumes. And turns out there was a pro team that wanted him. He got a job as an assistant coach in the pros. A couple years later, the Jersey Nets and Coach Byron Scott were looking for an assistant coach. They called Lawrence and they said, "We want you to be our assistant coach here, one of the assistant coaches." Within a couple of years, Lawrence Frank had been the #1 assistant coach on the New Jersey Nets. Now, it doesn't even end there because he wanted to be a head coach. During the 2003-2004 season, the Nets were struggling. Management wanted to make a change, and they fired Byron Scott. Now, this was midway through the season, so they needed an interim coach to fill in until the end of the season when they could hire a full-time coach. They tapped the number 1 assistant coach on the Nets, Lawrence Frank, as their head coach. And this was Lawrence's golden opportunity. He knew it was only an interim job. He might never have this opportunity again. What did he do? He went on to win his first 13 basketball games. That's an NBA record that's never been done before or since for a rookie coach beginning his career as an NBA coach. He turned around that program. They made the playoffs that year. In his first 4 years, they made the playoffs 4 times. They won 2 Atlantic Division titles. He was the youngest coach in the NBA. Oh, and by the way, he was now their full-time coach. When it was all said and done with the Nets, he was the all-time winningest coach in New Jersey Nets history with more than 220 wins. Today, Lawrence Frank is the top assistant to the Boston Celtics, the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference right now. And he will definitely get another shot one day to be a head coach again. There's no question about it. He never gave up on his dream. Lawrence Frank left an indelible mark on the NBA, not just being the all-time winningest coach of the Nets, not just that winning streak that he started his career off with, not just being the youngest coach in the NBA, but also, today, he is the only coach in the history of the NBA to never play pro, college, or high school basketball. 5'8" Lawrence Frank, who was told he could never make it, never made a team in his life, NBA coach. He lived his dreams. And you can live your dreams too. Never give up. The diplomas you received tonight, they're a symbol of all the time, hard work, and dedication that you put in the past several months.
That's right. Hey.
You now have the tools necessary to have a very successful career. But remember, commencement means beginning. This is only the beginning. We at Everest will do everything we can to help you succeed. But you have to take the initiative. If you need our help, we'll be there for you. But you have to pick up the phone and call career services. You need to take action and send your resumes to employers. You have to want to be successful. Lawrence Frank never gave up on his dream. You should neither. You control your own destiny. And guess what? You make the difference between success and failure. I know you can do it. With that, there's only one thing left to say. Congratulations, man.